What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. Now in today's video, we're hopping into X-Men Tooth and Claw one-shot. This is a brand new comic coming out following everything after Krakoa and currently ongoing with our X-Men of Alaska. But this is hugely focusing on Magneto and Beast. Probably two of our most troubled X-Men ever since the fall of Krakoa, and we really haven't been able to dive into their backstory of what's currently going on with them and how they're handling it. And with the Age of Revelation right on the horizon, they're not really getting huge opportunities to dive into all of these stories. So this one-shot kind of fills in the gap of what's been going on with these two behind the veil, if you will. The first story is Magneto's story. Once standing mighty, proclaiming to the humans that you now have new gods, to the battles that would come, to the wheelchair that he now finds himself in, or levitating chair in this instance. And when Magneto, he really tries to go into town as Magneto, in this hovering chair with his helmet on, the whole 9 yards, Beast stops him. He's like, man, I know we're kind of on good terms with this town, but you're Magneto. Regardless of any perception, a lot of people fear you. And so maybe not go in looking so menacing. Maybe go in looking like a regular guy. But Hank is able to convince him to take on a wheelchair. He heads into town, and he heads to the synagogue. With everything going on in his life, he's kind of looking for a little direction. And so he sits down with the rabbi. For Magneto, ever since Asteroid M, Utopia, Avalon, all the way up to Krakoa, a lifetime, several lifetimes spent chasing haven after haven. And every single time, the gates of Eden are shut, slammed in their faces. It has broken his people, his tribe, just a little every single time. More every time. And now he ponders the question, what if there's no sanctuary? What if there is only an endless cycle of tolerance and oppression? No deliverance. After everything that he has witnessed, he's come to realize that the dreams of others, the utopias that they've tried to build, that chance is never going to happen again. But he's not seeing himself as Moses in this scenario. That was always Charles. Or at least that's what Magneto wants to believe. Though the rabbi says, I don't think so. Charles never saw himself as an instrument. You have always been that one. But the problem is, Moses was a humble man. And while Magneto has been humbled, that is not the same as being humble. Reminding him of the Torah, telling him at the end of his people's wandering, Moses was commanded to climb to the Mount of Nebo. And here, he was told that he would not live across the River Jordan, suggesting that maybe Magneto is in fear of the consequences of his own pride. Do you fear there's no place of refuge for your people? Or do you fear that they will not be able to reach it without you? Angrily, Magneto leaves. He tells her that this was a mistake, that he never should have came. As he gets outside into the snow, this is where a car, it begins to crash, losing control, bursting into flame, and knocking Magneto down to the ground, head bloodied. As he starts to kind of get up and gets to his senses, he sees that there's a young girl in the car. Her father seemingly dead or unconscious. She's not really sure what she can do in the situation. Her seatbelt is stuck. Magneto, he wants to help, but now injured. His powers nowhere even near what they were. In fact, it's not even seeming that he can use his powers right now. A few months ago, he could have easily disassembled all of this and turned this car into just absolute small little pieces. Could have cubed it up. He could have made this girl safe in an instant. But now he is helpless. He tells the girl that she must help herself, that she must cut herself loose. Grabbing hold of a piece of glass, she cuts the seatbelt. With firefighters on the way, she's able to make it out. Everyone's able to get to safety, and we find out that the father, he also made it out alive, just pretty messed up, got a concussion, all that good stuff. But as we pick up with the rabbi and Magneto a little later on, the rabbi goes on to discuss how her grandmother came to be in Alaska. From arriving to New York, to getting into a foster family, them traveling to Alaska, and inevitably settling in this area. Really, for Magneto, all of this comes down to wanting to know how it ends. Right now, he's feeling like he might be on the verge of death. His powers are waning. It appears that resurrection has caused an illness, though it is very specific to Magneto, which is absolutely insane, and they really do need to dive into what the hell is going on with him. Magneto wants to know how it ends. He wants to know how it ends for his people. He wants to know if they have salvation, if they reach their haven, if they reach their utopia. He just wants an answer before his ultimate demise. But the end isn't always for us to know. All we can do is entrust those that we love and hope that the path goes right. Later on at the X-Men HQ, Beast is asking how Magneto's feeling, and Magneto says that he's feeling slightly more humbled, but otherwise none the worse. With the X-Men headed out on a mission, we have Beast saying that he's going to continue the work. He's been working really hard to try and figure out what the heck is going on with them. But Magneto tells him to take a break, needing some rest and needing some opportunity to relax his brain. He tells Beast to just chill out because no matter what, even if I'm not in the best state, no matter how this ends, I'm going to be fine. This is what takes us to our second part. This is what takes us to the Beast part of this comic. We're finally diving into Beast confronting his Dark Beast fears. Right now, he's sitting down with a therapist, recapping everything that's been going on with Beast. Dozens of clones whose consciousnesses were backed up from earlier versions of a template, more or less, Beast Prime, if we will, who developed a murderous god complex and was subsequently atomized by something called the Black Hole Gun. And now this Beast is the only Beast that is remaining. So it's quite obvious why Beast is having a hard time adjusting to everything going on. Dark Beast is what is preventing him from truly taking on what he wants to be, of being an X-Men. He is terrified that his future, it is going to be a menace, such as the mutant Magneto, or Beast Prime, who thinks himself god of all mutants. So is he not fated to become a monster? Not the language he would use per se, but that's pretty much what he's saying. He fears that Henry McCoy plus time will always equal atrocity. And the thing about him is this is part of his mutant ability, he believes. That he's an animal with claws. That he has predatory behavior. That his very biology, it makes him react instinctively with aggression. And so all of this triggered certain offensive mutations in its carrier, aka him, in order to ensure his survival. Over time, with a little help, this becomes much more pronounced. But it's not his body that he fears. No, it is his mind. The barbarianism committed by other Hank McCoys. They didn't use claws or fangs to do it. They used their mind. His mind doesn't separate him from that instinctual beast that is inside of him. In fact, he believes that it enables it. Now, as we pick up a little bit later on, we're taken over to British Columbia. A new mutant being found, and Beast is one of the few that's going out here to help and try to find it. The team's gone, so they're really the only two that are going to be able to go find this individual. But as they arrive, they start getting stones thrown at them. The anti-mutant hate right now is at top notch, and it's because they're blaming a mutant for setting a building on fire, and that they just chased that freak inside, with Beast running into the flames. He finds Dr. Pierce, the doctor of this clinic, helping him up to his feet, trying to get him out of here. As they make their way around the corner, this is where he sees Dr. Pierce. Dr. Pierce is laying on the ground. The person that he was carrying, this was the mutant. This was the individual pretending to be Dr. Pierce. And now it takes on the appearance of Hank McCoy. Now, it doesn't take long for Beast to figure out that this mutant, this one's a mimic, and a very good one at that. But this isn't like Mystique. This is memory. This is behaviors. Highly specialized mirror neurons. They are still themselves, but the other personality of the person that they're mimicking, it bleeds over. The stronger the personality, the more overwhelming it can be. Both of them coming to the conclusion that having this discussion here in the burning building is not the best idea. And so the two of them, they get out of here and they head back to X-Men HQ. They send Psylocke Psylocke in to try and have a discussion. And Psylocke's letting them know that, this person, the one that they're going to refer to from now on as Blank Slate. And that's because this person has very few memories, very minuscule personality, no name, no gender, no sex. It is a literal blank slate. And anytime they mimic somebody, they're not getting a whole lot of their memories. They'll get a little bit of their memories, but mostly they take on mannerisms, behaviors, things of that nature. So there's no real worry about operational security. What Psylocke is saying is that this person is pretty much in a perpetual state of existential crisis. Now, this is where Cyclops, alright, maybe I can go in and have a conversation. If we could add this person to be a member of the X-Men team, this would be huge. Going in, being in the same proximity as Cyclops, it does not take long for those powers to activate, and a hole is blown right into the wall. Now, a little bit later, we have Beast and Blank Slate having a conversation. Now, Blank Slate may not have all the memories of Beast, but Blank Slate does know that he's afraid of his own nature. This is when he shows Blank Slate a kind of weighted probability. Right now, he's trying to calculate the probability of him becoming a mad scientist. He has reason to believe that the odds, they're going to be greater than evens. Because of this, he's been refining a kind of a gun that would bring him back to his old state. If he ever goes too far, a complete psychobiological image of himself as he is right now. This is his failsafe, a restore point for his personality, a use in case of emergencies. But with the two of them headed out for the evening, later that night, we see Blank Slate returning. And Blank Slate very much likes being Hank McCoy. And so using that restore point, Blank Slate puts it into its neck. The next day, we see a basketball game going on between Cyclops and Beast. And Beast is doing a lot of smack talk. He's being really aggressive. He's not being his normal Beast self. And that's because it's Blank Slate. This is where our real Beast shows up, and he's like, I apologize for all the developments, but that's Blank Slate. Explaining the serum that he designed for himself, that he designed for his metabolism, his immune system. They have no idea the effects that this is gonna do to Blank Slate. And Beast isn't really surprised at this. Blank Slate doesn't really understand who they are in any way, shape, or form. So being Hank McCoy, liking being Hank McCoy with some kind of stability. This is where we have Beast flipping one of his tables. He's saying that you're not Hank McCoy. Like Henry McCoy, he lets his friends have a couple of free throws. He doesn't deliberately provoke them. That I have to stop myself from being that monster every damn day. That you don't fully understand what it is to be Beast. As the two of them go their separate ways, as we have Blank Slate taking off and running out of the lab. We pick up with Beast a little bit later on sitting at the bar in Alaska. This is Blank Slate, trying to get away, trying to find a little bit of peace in all the chaos. Blank Slate is not gonna find that peace here. Back at X-Men HQ, we have Psylocke and Beast that are looking for Blank Slate, not really sure where they went, but they know that Blank Slate is not here at HQ, so they go looking. This is where we have Blank Slate outside brawling with some of these dudes. They've ganged up and they are beating the crap out of Blank Slate. But Blank Slate's getting some hits in as well. Being in Beast form, they can definitely take a beating and give a beating. Now, the whole time, all of this is being recorded. Nobody's calling the cops. In fact, they're kind of enjoying watching as this mutant just gets beat to crap. That's when one of the men go to grab a shotgun. Grabbing that shotgun, we see our Beast transform. Blank Slate goes from regular Beast to the gray monstrosity that we all are terrified of. That's when our real Beast shows up. Punches Blank Slate. Psylocke cutting the guy's shotgun in half. Now this is Beast versus Blank Slate. As the two of them fight, Beast is begging Blank Slate not to make me be the monster. Not make me show my ugly side. And Blank Slate says that you're so desperate for their approval. After everything that they've done to you, I've seen it. It's in my mind. I can feel it. They watch and record. They laugh. they start taking bets on which one of them is gonna win. And as he's beating, as Blank Slate is beating the crap out of Beast, this is when he says, "My name is Dr. Henry McCoy. My favorite opera is Don Giovanni. My favorite painter is Paul Klee." And Beast says, "That's right, tell them. Tell them who you are." Putting an injection in his neck, this is where Beast is able to help him out. A new serum that is going to turn him back into his regular self. Turn Blank Slate back into their regular self. Whatever they are. Whatever that is. Whatever that means to them. This is what takes us to the Alaskan forest. Beast saying goodbye to Blank Slate. Saying that you're gonna be you again, but we had to kind of put you out here in the forest, get you away from all people so that you can find out who you actually are. This way you can be forced to actually live with yourself. As Blank Slate goes off into the woods, we kind of see the transformation into an anonymous, faceless individual. And Beast talking to his therapist, asking how he feels after all of this. He says that he feels rather lonely. He tried speaking to Bruce Banner about this, but it's not really the same situation. He saw himself in the wildest, most worst form, but he still stopped himself. This gives him hope. Hope that there is an opportunity that he might be able to impose power over the worst impulses in himself. And that will be where this issue ends. So let me know what you guys think. Two definitely, I would say, needed stories. These are definitely plot-moving stories that were needed for some character growth in these two ever since the end of Krakoa. You know, we definitely need to dive into Magneto more and find out what the heck is going on with him. In fact, I would love to see this comic continued on just as it is, with Magneto and Beast working together to figure out what's going on. But I like this story of Beast because this has been his biggest fear. He has been fearing for a long time of, what if I'm always just gonna be evil? Every version of me, given enough time, becomes evil. What if that's just who I'm destined to be? What if I am always meant to just be an evil dude? A mad scientist. But this Mystique-like individual, it really got to put a mirror up to himself in one of his worst forms, and we saw that worst form be able to find a sense of humanity, find a sense of not going to the edge and stepping over it, giving him hope that there's some part of him, some humanity in him that can impose his will over that force. So I think this is a very important story to highlight that fear of Dark Beast that even fans are having. I think it's going to be subsided, and I don't think that that's going to be in our future. I think he's coming to the realization that it's a choice, and it is simply a choice that he has to make not to be that person. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that has been going on with this issue, with this story, with the X titles, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Guys, this is a lot like Patreon. It can help us out a lot. The entry is very cheap, I think as little as $2. You get a bunch of perks, a bunch of options. It really does help us out a lot, but if you can't do that, I totally get it, totally understand. The other way you can help us out in tremendous ways, make sure you're hitting that new hype button. That hype button is going to push us up through the algorithm, but the best thing to help us out is simply subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and making sure that you're ringing that notification bell. With that being said, guys, until the next breakdown.